Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Roll call, please.
Chuck Davis,
Here.
Councilman Mike Cooley,
Here.
Councilman Kathy Beck here, Councilman Jacob Flutie.
Here. Here.
Everybody had a chance to look at the agenda. Is there any corrections or additions that need to be made? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Everybody had a chance to go through those. Any questions, discussion? Do I have a minute do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the January 16th, 2024 meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the bills. We have deposits in the amount of $208,375.61. Accounts payable in the amount of $233,434.95. Payroll in the amount of $39,117.50, and transmittals in the amount of $2,108.99. Any discussion? If you'll notice on accounts payable, some of that money will be reimbursed in a grant. We'll get into that more in discussion here after a bit. So, if no discussion, do I have a motion to approve the financial and pay the bills?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to correspondence.
We have the uh, 2023 Annual Business Award Dinner, celebrating 50 years. Flat Valley Community Center on March 14th. The doors open at 5:30.
Okay. Any other correspondence? That is open to us. We've got the invite in the packet. Nothing? Hey, items from the public. We have one special event application. Was handed off. It's the 307 Go Fast. I believe all pertinent people signed off on it.
And the liquor permit has been issued too.
So, and it is for when?
The 10th, it's this weekend.
Pardon?
It's February 10th, it's this weekend.
What is it? That golf thing?
No, that's the razor races and
Oh, the side by side.
and the four-wheeler races.
Yeah.
So, it was brought to us on short notice. I told her I would go ahead and bring it before the council. I have no issues with it.
I don't need.
Anybody else?
No.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and grant this special event? February 10th, the Saratoga Lake, beginning at
10 a.m.
10 a.m. to 4 p.m. approximately.
You said it's races or something?
Yes, it's ATV races.
On the ice.
On the ice, on an oval track on the lake.
They did it last year too.
Do you have a motion?
I was just gonna have any other additional discussion? Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve this?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Would you notify Susan tomorrow? Okay. Okay, we'll go on to council comments.
Oh, I have one.
Okay.
So I meet with the Prevention Coalition for Carbon County, with that network, the Prevention Network. And we're looking for people who are interested in helping build out our objectives for 2024. A new RFP or a new award was given to the Public Health Department. They're going to be sort of the keepers of that grant money, and they're going to oversee the program and take over the Prevention Network as of July 1st, 2024. So in the meantime, we're just looking to identify what our focus points are for drug, alcohol, suicide prevention, education, resources. And I'm just going to be mentioning this regularly. If you have an interest there, you know someone you'd like to find out more about the prevention group, please contact Town Hall and give your information to one of the ladies here, and they can get in contact with me and I'll follow up with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to reports from departments, Town Hall, and we have a treasurer report to begin with. Huh? Sure. Thank you.
We went through our financials that we have. We had a substantial amount in our Rollins National Bank. So we went through to see if there was funds that we can move to a savings account to get more interest earned. We did not have a general fund savings account, so we went ahead. Chuck asked us if we would open up an account for that, for the general fund. So we did that in WyoStar and we moved $1 million even to the WyoStar account. We also found that we had some water funds that should be allocated to the water fund account. So we moved 387,000 into that WyoStar account. And then we also had 192,000 for our sewer fund that we also moved to our WyoStar account. So we're working on the audit and we're on 21, 22 right now. We're almost wrapped up with that. And he's moving this direction while we're going the other direction to see where our numbers fall. So that's what we did in the meantime. Do you have any questions?
We're expecting to start having our budget conversations early this year,
Yes,
right?
we are.
So we're going to have all of our numbers in hand. And
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that we can plan and have it done earlier than we did last year.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Yes, you're welcome.
Kind of how I see that too, department heads. Figure out their budgets. And then, once they get the numbers put together, then we'll start having the first meeting. Hopefully, we can get through that in about 2 or 3 meetings, to get them finalized. So we can have our first reading sometime in May. Doing,
Yeah, that's good.
That's kind of how I foresee that. I think this is fantastic because the town is moving money into their WyoStar account, especially starting up one for the town itself, the general fund. The numbers that I've seen that the girls have run off and everything look pretty accurate. I think we're gonna fall well close to our audits. The guy that's doing the audits, speaking about money, said that things just progressively have gotten better. What slowed him down this time is he had to do was a grant for the airport board, so he's got to do a complete audit on that to make sure the money was spent, which we have all the information, we provide him with the information. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be caught up on audits, except for the 23-24. So hopefully, which we are definitely moving in the right direction. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, we'll move on to the Wyoming Funding Summit. Would you take, yeah, so we can hear you a little better?
I'll just speak louder.
Microphone, can you use that one?
What this does is there was questions brought up one time of who spoke in the background and you can't be seen from the camera and we're not gonna go through that. You're gonna be seen while you speak.
It's the second annual Wyoming Funding Summit, so it's a grant writing workshop, much. The first part of the week is grant writing, and then the second part is just, more funding opportunities. It's April 8th through the 12th in Riverton, and it's put on by US Senators John Barrasso and Cynthia Lewis. It's free of charge, except for the room.
Are we sending somebody?
She asked,
Yay. Cool, good.
so is everybody in favor of that?
So if anybody else wanted to go, they're more than welcome to go because it's free of charge.
We could do that. I don't know. That's up to you guys. That's why it's on this agenda.
If somebody was interested in helping on it.
Yeah.
I don't have any issue with it.
I
No, I'm glad you did. I wish I could go with you. That would be fun
Can you
and
go?
informative. I don't think I can take off that time. But I'll let you know if I can.
Okay.
But do we need to make a motion for Jen to
Yes,
go?
we do.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve Jen attending and we'll cover the cost of the travel and general expenses, typical.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to the audit invoice. If you look at that, it's in the amount of 15,069 and no cents. And it's in the back if anybody has any questions on it, but it's the same individual doing the audit. He's just running under a different name now. But a different company name.
Sounds a little sketchy. Yeah. There's a consultant under a different company now. I'll make a motion to pay this invoice.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to the police department. Well, excuse Mike tonight. He called in sick. He got the crud that's going around. He did send me a couple of items. What he wanted to share was only thing he wanted to report is that they are working on expenses, costs, and options for dispatch. Have received one application for a new officer, and he's following up on that. It was a short report, but you know, he's not here, so, yes, sir.
If the chief is sick, I missed a meeting, but if you had two officers, the chief and the lieutenant were running the cop shop. If he's sick, we're down to one cop.
Two
Did that?
and part-time,
Okay,
yeah. Officer Lear is on duty now.
thank you,
The town is covered.
thank you.
I just want to ask and maybe comment, are we continuing to look at some answers? There's continuing discussions about the MOU or solutions for moving forward to cover equipment usage, all that.
I spoke with Mike, I believe it was last week. It was last Thursday. I asked him to get with Sheriff Bakken and see what they can come up with. And then sometime in March, I would like to have a public hearing. We'll probably hold the public hearing at the community center simply because of their big screen, more availability. And they're gonna have a complete presentation. I guess the sheriff's been working on one right now.
We mentioned a public hearing at the last meeting and the importance of,
That's what we're looking for sometime in
yeah,
March.
right. I just wanted to make sure we're still working on it.
Yeah, that is something we gotta continue to look at, because if we're gonna make a move, we need to make it with the budget coming up too.
You're talking about the combined dispatch?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Is there any risk of the town losing control of anything by the sheriff running everybody's dispatch center? Is there, it's $1 million cop shop. You take out all those dispatch people. Is there savings, a great amount of savings to be had? And do you run a risk of losing any control?
As far as the losing of control, no, that'll be how it'll be, of course, in the beginning, it will be ran by the sheriff's office. What we're hoping to do as it progresses is come up with a joint powered board, and it'll be run directly by a joint powered board. But in the beginning, it will be ran by the sheriff's office. So yeah, he will have the final say, but we'll have input to put with it. And I think that will have to be addressed by him. As far as cost savings, that's the numbers that they are working on now.
Thank you.
That has not been presented back to this council.
Right.
I mean, I know the individuals that's operating this. I know the sheriff is an elected official. He can't be told what to do by the commissioner, but they hold his purse strings. I have a lot of respect for the sheriff, and I don't think there'll be any issues as far as a control problem. My opinion. I think it'll be worked out together.
It's probably something we need to get used to, but I do a little part-time work at the resort as a security person on the weekends. And it's been some years ago, but I had an experience in the past where I called 911 expecting to get these guys and got the sheriff. And it was a shock, and maybe it's a training thing, maybe it's a conditioning thing that,
Did you call on a cell phone?
yes.
That is one of the issues that we're trying to resolve right now. Sometimes you'll get our dispatch, sometimes you get the sheriff's office, sometimes you even get the Rollins Dispatch Center. So you never know, so that's,
It's a shock when you're needing help and they say, county sheriff, hell, I don't want the county sheriff, I need a Saratoga cop. Was my reaction to it, and I was under stress at the time, but I just remember that, and so I understand there's serious money and equipment issues and staffing issues. I'm not really opposed to the idea,
you'd have picked up a hard line and dialed 911, it would have rang to this. But on cell phones, it's a hit and miss situation on who you're gonna get. So they've got to relay that information. I'm sure they took your information and relayed it right down here. But yeah,
and because of where I live on the corner there on Hugo Street, there is confusion when you call Rollins about which Hugo Street are you talking about? You gotta make damn good sure it's Saratoga's Hugo Street, not Rollins. We've had packages shipped to Rollins. So there's those kinds of issues, and I'm sure that as this progresses.
well, that is, and everybody's aware of it, that was even brought up a little bit at the last meeting, discussions about cell phone usage and how they ring in different places, and that's something they're addressing, talking about, how that gets finalized. I don't know. That's out of everybody's control. So,
Thank you.
hey, any other discussion on the police department? We'll move on to the fire department. Cree James had nothing to report. They have a business meeting tomorrow night at, I think, 5:30. Yes, at 5:30. Okay, we'll move on to the recreation department.
Good evening. I've been on the to-do list tonight to keep you informed about. The first is I'd like to get your approval to offer rec board members and their immediate family members free use of the gym and the pool as sort of an incentive for them to volunteer to be rec board members. Was similar to what we offered town hall employees, use of the facility, the gym and the pool. So I thought as a way to kind of recruit some new board members and sort of thank them for their time. That was a proposal I wanted to bring forward to you tonight.
Discussion?
That's just your immediate family like we did with
Like within your
the
household.
other one, right?
Mhm. And I asked a couple of the rec board members that we have currently if that, what they thought about that, if they thought that was enticing or they would use it. And two of them thought definitely that would be something worthwhile and make them sort of feel appreciated and value their time.
Additional discussion?
I don't have an issue with it.
I don't either.
I don't either, but I just wonder if, the other boards we have, like the airport board, planning and zoning board. You could even go as far as a joint powers board that, but the county's involved with that. Should we open it up to them? I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that. I guess, you know,
Consistency.
my initial thought was they have a direct link to recreation and
Yeah.
planning the recreation programs and most of the programs come right out of the gym. And so
That's how I would look at it.
that's kind of how mine look at
Yeah.
it.
That's,
I'd make a motion to do it,
Just for the rec board?
just to the
Sure.
rec board.
Should we read just the portion that would be changed in the bylaws? How that reads is it's the policy of the town of Saratoga to provide the volunteer rec board members and their immediate family members access to the use of the pool and PVCC Community Center gym free of charge. All policies and rule regarding the use of these facilities apply to the member and their family members. This does not include free access to fitness classes or rec league programs. We're just looking to.
This is how it would be added.
Mhm. I'd make the motion to,
I have a motion.
motion, I'll second then.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Also for your approval tonight, I'm looking at hiring another fitness instructor. This instructor would offer what's called a 6-week boot camp, which would probably meet Tuesday and Thursday over the noon hour. Approximate cost to pay her would be around $255, which I have in my budget. She currently is an employee. It's Whisper, but since I'm paying her, this would be out of a separate bucket, so to speak. So I guess I need to bring it to your knowledge to see if you would approve hiring her to teach a boot camp fitness class. This class would take place before the pool open. It would start around April 1st and end around May 10th. And just a couple times a week for about 45 minutes.
Would this be a contract then, Karina? So we'd confirm she has her insurance, her coverage
She's
there.
got her first aid, she's got her CPR, she's got her boot camp certification. I would just have to have her sign the contract and I think the rest would be easy. She's already employed.
So yeah, it's not a payroll thing, it's a contract thing. Okay.
issue with it.
Yeah,
And you have the money in your budget?
It is my budget. And like I said, it's gonna be approximately $255. And I've got quite a bit left in the fitness budget because we've had some periods where there weren't any classes offered, so.
Okay.
So this is, the rec department is covering the expense for her, and so anybody who wants to sign up and participate does not pay, or how would that work? Current members only would have access to the class, or,
No, it's, you pay to go to class.
okay,
It's just like
they're still gonna sign up.
you'd either buy a punch card, which we sell 12 classes for $50, or you
Okay.
could do drop-in classes, or if you have the, I guess it would be tier level 2 fitness membership.
So what's the cost of the class?
Sorry?
What,
Cost to
how are you gonna charge
participants.
for the class?
Well, you either buy a punch card and you pay for the $50 for 12 classes to any fitness class we offer, or you pay a drop-in fee of $5. Or if you're a membership, if you have a membership to the gym, that will cover your entrance to the class.
Okay.
So those are options for any class.
Discussion? Do I have a motion to go ahead? Move forward with that?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you. The next couple items are just information items. I'll be applying for the Carbon County School District grant to renew or reapply for that grant. It's due next week, so I'm working on some numbers and different areas where I feel those numbers where money could best be utilized. So that's just for your information. Basketball registration ended today. We've got 108 kids signed up, so I'm starting to process the money for that, as well as scheduling and t-shirt ordering and such. That should start around the 1st of March. So that was good news to see quite a few kids signed up. I think I saw your kid's name on there, one of your kids, I think. So that's just FYI. And then finally, I think last week, or at the last meeting rather, I had noted that we've been kind of busy and there's been an increase in usage at the gym. So I started kind of collecting data by using the cameras and the fobs and doing head counts and looking at sign-in sheets, et cetera, just to kind of have an idea of how many people are using the gym. So between last meeting and tonight, there's been 1,800 people that have gone through the facility. So it is a busy time over there. So, and that included everything from fitness classes to basketball, 4-H shooting has started, pickleball, homeschool, kind of everything that's taking there. So it's been busy couple of weeks.
still a lot of people to run through that gym in that amount of time, or that center.
That short of time. And then finally, just an update, that fob system has been installed. It became active on February 1st. We've got 53 people signed up as members over there. And so far, knock on wood, we haven't heard any problems. It seems to be working well. Ties in really nice with the cameras. You can see who uses their fob, what they're doing, when they're in, when they're out, how many times they've used it, which actually I used some of those numbers to help get the data for how many people are going to the gym.
What about the people that's using it that's not supposed to be? Is that helping with that?
Well, we haven't had anybody yet, so knock on wood, right? And I checked it over the weekend just to make sure to see like, okay, here's what we need to see. And there wasn't anybody, so that was. And that's kind of the end of my report. Do y'all have any questions or?
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay. you're
Thanks,
welcome.
Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Okay, we'll move on to the Department of Public Works. Mr. Emery.
Good evening, everybody. So right first on the docket, River Street Project water line replacement, we've been kicking around over here for quite some time. We finally got everything, the scope finalized, contract documents finalized, and based off of costs or even more than they were last year. So we kind of scoped things in the way to get the most bang for our buck. We were kind of stuck in between, okay, we want to rebuild everything, but we don't have enough money to do all that. But we want to improve the road, we want to improve the water line. We've got a total water line replacement. We'll patch everything in thick, make sure everything is compacted, and then we'll put some stormwater. We got a valley pan going in some spots, a little bit of drainage in some other spots. And then when that's all done, we're gonna chip seal the road and we'll fog it. So it'll seal the road up for some time and it'll look like fresh new pavement, and it'd be significantly cheaper than, I mean, we're talking $100,000 to do that. When mill and overlay, we were looking at it's like 500, and then total rebuild another 250 on top of that. So even with the grant, if the EA's cost estimate comes in, the contingency has to get used up, we're still looking at like a with engineering included, like a $1.67 million project, even with that grant, which is about 21% of the special purpose tax money. So that's a big chunk. We don't want to spend hopefully much more than that on one project because there was a lot of projects on there. We want to touch as many as we can. So that's kind of what led to scoping things a little bit differently. But we want to get this bad boy out, get it advertised, and get somebody on board. The contract's the same structure that you can Never Forget Park had, DJ CDC 700, just different specs. I do have a plan sheet there. I think Jerry's got one over there if anybody wants to look at it. There's not a lot of changes or anything we can make to it without spending a significant more amount of money on one facet or the other. So if you guys are good with it, we're gonna advertise it and get it out.
I believe that was number 2 on the project on the 6 penny tax. And put a lot of work into it. I think we need to move forward with it.
Yeah.
That will include a loop that goes down your
There's a hot.
behind your, over towards the hot pool and tie that in. That'll complete a loop through there. And
Get up above the ditch. We are gonna bore under the ditch, have that drilled. We were gonna try and excavate under there, but the risk of something happening, the box culverts up there, we're just not, it's not worth the gamble. But that did add a little bit of cost, but
this is a good project. Needs to be done. The street will be,
oh yeah, and we are gonna, where it looks crooked, we're gonna patch in 6 foot before we seal coat it, so it'll kind of widen that travel way back out and it'll look a little less. I don't know, cockeyed, whatever.
the valley pan that was not put in on the last project will be put in on this project for drainage purposes. So, any questions? Nope. Do I have a motion to move forward and let's go to bid on this project?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll move forward.
So we did get bids back for Never Forget Park. This is number item 15. The low bid was $375,000, which was substantially more than the money that we had. There's no opportunity to negotiate the scope at this point with the contractor that came in at the lowest bid. So what we've talked about as a staff is, and with the Never Forget Park group, is scoping down and then going back out to try and reduce that by about 100K. That's about as best as we can come up with at this point. It would reduce the lawn size right now as it sits is about 56,000 square feet, like the size of a football field with the end zones. So we would shrink that down a little bit. For now, the sidewalks would have to get put on pause. That's a big cost of that. Basically, we get down to some curb, regrading everything, making sure everything drained, road base, and then there you go. That's what we'd have money to do based on the bids we got.
It was discussed in the meeting with the group that pushing on this was that they can get work done in kind, but we can't do it on a bid. So some of their sidewalks could be put in that way. They can get volunteer help to put in some of the shrubs and bushes and stuff. We can't do it that way. So we thought if we could get the general portion of it done, so they've got a beginning, we could give it to them and then they can work on it as they want to and move forward that way. But I think it's something that it's been going on a long time and I would like to end it right now. Hopefully we can do it by scoping this down and getting this started. Give it to them and we'll be done with it.
And then the other thing with even though we're scoping it down, we're trying to got this in-kind conversation going on. The town's still hooked on that $75,000 for public projects. So we got to go out to bid if anything's over 75,000 on construction. So that kind of ties our hands with what we can do. So that was kind of another reason we decided, okay, let's scope down. Let's get this big expensive part out of the way. And then that gives everybody a lot more room to hey, we're gonna do a sprinkler system, they're gonna, donate their time, some of the buying materials. It makes it a lot easier if we get this big initial cost out of the way.
The engineer on this said the best way to go about this would be to reject all bids, scope it down and go back out to bid. So that's why we went this way. He said, don't feel bad about it. He said, there are projects throughout the state that this is happening to. People go out to bid and they can't afford what the bid's coming in. So they'll reject them and do just what we're doing. He says it's going on constantly throughout the state. So
We had the high bid come in at like $450. I mean, it's hard saying what things are gonna come in at.
And that's for cut grade and putting the sidewalks in and
No, that's if we scope down, there won't be any sidewalks. That was
they'll be responsible for their sidewalk.
so no curb, no.
some curb along the front there where the parking lot was.
And up one side, I believe.
South and west.
There's no way we could have this surveyed on the town's dime and have them cut grade and then just bid out just the sidewalks and the
Sidewalks. I'd like to have somebody do it. I mean,
oh, we all would.
yeah, I hate it.
There's a lot of fill material that's gotta be, well, not a lot, 1,200 yards.
Yeah, 1,200.
It may up it a little bit like scoping down, but he has a sewer line that he's wanting to replace with our guys this year, and a water line or two that he's looking at. I mean, he's got a project for them to do.
Hmm.
So that would be the downfall. Where do we, if we could say, yeah, Gary, go over there and do whatever you want, bill us or somebody else, then yeah, you could probably come in way under this project, but it's just with the way our hands are tied. I would just like to move forward this way, but it's up to you guys. It really is.
What do you think well, we won't know until you go back out to bid.
Trying
What
to
it'll
get
come
about
down.
90 off of it, the rescope that we're at. 1,000 off of it.
And, I think we can swing that. I have to ask the town for a little bit of help, money wise, but I think that can be. With the money they have and the money that's been set aside for that park, I think it's the best way to go. That's my opinion.
You have something showing what the scope down with
Yeah, there should be a kind of a drawing in there.
this.
You see it with the curb and guttering right now. This is gonna scope down this drawing here, guys.
Yeah.
To the narrow part again. Go down to this. It's actually gonna give us more room for parking. Not as much lawn to take care of, When you stop and think about it, the way it was designed, it was the size of a football field with the end zones. Okay. So, any other questions on this?
No,
I was just gonna say that it reduced the lawn size by half. And we'll have two-way traffic in and out where before it was one-way traffic, so it should improve quite a few things. And then because we won't have sidewalks, we will probably have some sort of a fence just to keep vehicles off of the grass for now. The committee's happy with this scope down, and we just want to get it done.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Well, maybe before we agree to fully go that route, let's look at one other thing down on my at number 17. We might as well pair these two together because they're relevant. So the initial amount figured there was a task order from $7,900 for time and materials for design, bidding, all that through WLC. There's going to be some redesign and going back out to bid and all that with that, which is going to come in at about the same price. Fortunately, with the rescoping, making sure the parking lot and everything, that's what Jason said it was going to cost to redesign, go out to bid, replicate this process. So that is going to be an additional cost to go this route. So if we'd be aware of that, if we go move down this road, rescope and rebid, there's going to be additional engineering. But originally we thought like 42,000 on the construction side is what WLC came in at. Talking with Jason, that's probably pretty heavy. So the overall budget for the project on the engineering side is probably not going to change a whole lot. But just for this section, the design and bidding, we're going to bump that up, and then the construction side will probably come down.
Yeah.
So this $8,600 would be on top of it, or are they realigning?
It's more cash out of our pocket, but the original budget that we talked about is not going to change much. So if you figure you have the 53 something, it's still going to be about that total sum, but some of that balance, we're going to try and pull that out of construction, keep the cost the same.
Additional questions? Comments? The chair would entertain a motion to reject bids, scope down, and go out to bid again. Reject all bids we received.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, these hard ones, man.
Exciting, isn't it? Okay, so we finally, we got our first batch of invoice from OB Consulting. So we need to approve these. This is out of that $200,000 balance. We'll get reimbursed for these after they're paid. So check's clear, then we'll apply with YDOT to get reimbursed. And I'm with Karina and Jen, we talked to YDOT. It should be a fairly seamless process. And these guys did a fantastic job of keeping track of all their expenses.
Yeah, they got every receipt they generated.
Yeah, I sent one invoice over to YDOT just to make sure they had everything, and they were thoroughly happy with what they turned in. So there's no chasing things down on our end, which is extremely helpful.
Yeah. And that's what I was bringing up out of that. If you look back in the account payable of $233,000, 89,000 of this is will come right off the top of that. So our account payable won't look quite as high. Do I have a motion to go ahead and pay OB Consulting?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, and then just a couple things on the weed and pest. Got next month, we've got grants with the state and Carbon County due. We've been talking to a couple aerial applicators for mosquitoes. We're gonna try and get free worked into the grants this year. So far, the first price they got was quite a bit more than we paid last year, so we're gonna revisit that, try to get somebody else on board. As soon as we get those, we'll probably have a letter for you guys at the next meeting, so that way they can get their flight plan going. Because I think from what I understood, that's kind of what hung us up last year, was trying to make sure that was in place when mosquito season rolled around.
Did the individual, were you able to get a hold?
Yeah, and that's what I'm waiting on. The same guy we used last year too. Yeah, so, and then we've been working on the water side. Additionally, we've been starting our lead inventory. By our next October, we have to have, for EPA, we have to have a lead inventory of all the service lines in town. was able to work with the county mapper and get some good information from him, some spreadsheets on some homes and dates, which was super helpful. EA's got a bunch of pictures there uploaded to me, so when that time rolls around, we'll have that done. We're looking at fixing some valves, hopefully later on this year. Got another sewer project up on the hill. We're gonna try and look at springs rolling around. Then on the planning and zoning side, we are looking at some ordinances. Hopefully this next week, we'll be talking about the subdivision ordinance, kind of clarifying some things there. Our bigger road project, we've got that pretty much buttoned up. One thing we're waiting on is YDOT's got a couple of projects out right now, and we're trying to figure out who's gonna end up with those, because they will be very good candidates for us to piggyback off of. So that's talking with EA, I like that plan. Right now we come out too early and then they don't know, they don't throw a number, and these guys are gonna probably be economical, hopefully. So at the next meeting, we'll hopefully have a final set of plans and have dates on that, get that kicked out. We did lose on the street side. Kim Babbitt resigned about 2.5 weeks ago. So we're gonna be looking for somebody here shortly. So you guys are updated on that. Me and Kim have been starting to work on getting ready for pool season, because it'll be here before you know it. Be all sunburned and swimming shortly. And then we getting some prices on getting the wading pool, I think, filled in. Had any complaints or anything about that from anybody, and we get that done before we open. I think that would be pretty beneficial. And we're working on some budget stuff and some other small things.
Just one quick thing, that lift station that we put in ourselves, here replaced, and come in at about, you're thinking about 65, 60, 60.
No, I think we're gonna be like in lower 50s. We got it, all the big stuff's already bought. It's kind of about where we're at. I'll go back and figure everything. So the engineer estimate was like 152,000 with the 10% contingency, which we had a couple of things come up that we didn't know. We hit some bedrock stuff, so we probably would have soaked that up anyway. So it's a substantial amount of money, you know.
Saved by doing it.
Is it finished now?
We just got to put up the last little pieces together. You know, got carbon power, got the power in, everything ran all the way up for veterans, all the way down there, which worked out really well because the power on the old one crapped somewhere in someone's yard. So timing worked out pretty well on that.
Yeah.
Unintended.
Yeah.
Back to the wade pool. Is there any way for us to look at, while we get that filled, look at options for shade, maybe like to put in some shade, or because we could use that space, that real estate for tables and things. So maybe just look at some possibilities for poles there for shading or coverage. Yeah, tree there. That'd be great. You get to dig through the concrete on that one.
Yeah, no, I think if you guys want to put tables and chairs out there. The negative thing is anything that says pool is like way more expensive than the same table you can buy at Walmart.
Well, and we could do tables and chairs and get umbrellas. That's fine.
Yeah, and that's what we had. We had the umbrellas that went in the middle and 6-7 foot. Nice thing is it gets nasty outside. You take them inside. I don't. Trees and stuff is great, but that's just more leaves that get in the pool and get on the pool cover.
And cable tarps
That what?
at work, cable tarps,
Oh, for my,
triangle shape.
yeah, from my corner to corner.
Mhm.
Yeah, we could do those too.
Yeah, we have those sunshade, those sails that we put up. There's a couple of poles there just outside the back door. So I was thinking if we had something to anchor to, we could maybe create some shade.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
I see what you're saying. Having something further out there so you could extend your, yeah, I mean, we could really bolt one of those things.
We bolted those in. We bolted, just welded them and bolted them in there. Anchor bolts.
But if we're not gonna fill it up, I'd like to get it filled in so somebody doesn't
Yeah,
run,
covered.
fall in it and
Yeah.
crack their head.
Covered. Thank you for looking into that.
So did you cover all of them? Water, sewer, joint powers?
I think for the most part.
Thanks, Emery.
Yeah, thank you, Emery.
Next meeting for the Water Sewer Joint Powers Board is February 14th at 5:30. The next meeting for the Planning Commission is February 13th at 5:30 here at the Town Hall. Okay, we'll go to the Community Center Joint Powers Board.
I don't have anything to report now because our next meeting is February 12th, 4:30 over at the community center.
Okay. We'll move on to Recreation Commission. You want to take this? Or do you-
Sure, I can.
Okay.
Unless you want, it was addressed to you, if you want, so I can. I've got two letters of resignation to read. Mr. Mayor, I'm writing to inform you about my decision to leave my position as board member of Recreation Commission effective immediately. The Recreation Board has taken a great deal of my time since joining, largely in volunteer hours, organizing, executing, and reporting on events and rec opportunities for the town. I care deeply about seeing those opportunities grow and develop, offering quality of life improvements for our residents, and therefore felt the time commitment was warranted. However, I have become increasingly frustrated in attempting to execute these events and feeling there has been a lack of support from the town. I feel that my time can be better spent directly volunteering for events in town, coaching youth sports, and assisting other committees and organizations without the strictures of public funding and process. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the organization and Saratoga recreation opportunities. I have valued the time working with the board and other organizations within the community. I wish the best for the other members going forward. Sincerely, Danny Bureau. And then, Mr. Mayor Davis, please consider this notice of my resignation from my position as board vice president of the Town of Saratoga's Recreation Commission effective immediately. According to our Recreation Commission bylaws, the object of the organization shall be to advise the council in the promotion of the physical and mental well-being of all ages, enhance the beauty of the community, and through leisure time activities, increase the health, morals, safety, prosperity, and general welfare of the entire community. My purpose in requesting appointment as a volunteer to the Recreation Commission is my desire to support, assist, advise, and advocate for opportunities for our community members to participate in a variety of events and programs in the Valley. I am passionate about doing everything in my power to bring recreational activities, including art, music, drama, sports, wellness, beautification, etc., to the residents of this community and especially our youth. Collectively and individually, myself and my fellow Recreation Commission board members have dedicated countless volunteer hours to organizing and implementing events, activities, and programs we felt were worthwhile to enhance the quality of life of the individuals who reside in or visit Saratoga. I have spent thousands of my personal dollars to improve the success of those endeavors. Because I care deeply about the town and the people that live here, I've largely felt as if my time and financial sacrifices were worthwhile. Over the past 6 months, I have seen and felt a shift in the lack of support and enthusiasm from the town of Saratoga's leaderships to assist the Recreation Commission's goals in promoting events and activities. I have frequently felt as if we spend a lot of time talking about events and programs we would love to bring to the Platte Valley. With a combination of public fund spending regulations and the lack of support and enthusiasm leaves us incapacitated. I feel that I owe it to myself, my family, and my community to reclaim the hours I spend talking about events and activities. I feel my time can instead be dedicated to volunteer opportunities, focus more on implementation ideas, while perhaps making room on the board for another individual to step in and facilitate change. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve as a volunteer on the Town of Saratoga's Recreation Commission. I value the knowledge I've gained and the relationships I've made through rec. I wish nothing but success in the future for Town of Saratoga and the Recreation Commission. Best regards, Amber Waldron. So to that end, we have several positions open right now. We're unable to meet and agree on or propose solutions or advise the council because we don't have a quorum, but we can still continue to meet as a rec commission and discuss ways to improve our policies, our process. We're looking at ways to, we're just looking at some opportunity maybe to change some of the bylaws and the way that that commission is defined and the objectives there. So we do continue to have two members. We will meet on regular scheduled evenings that we have designated. The first Monday of the month. It would not be an official meeting, but folks are still welcome to join. That being said, currently we have 2 positions open in town, 2 positions open out of town. So if you're interested, we now just passed that change in bylaws to offer our volunteers free memberships to pool and the gym. So please contact, you can contact Kim. You can also write letters. That all of the information there is on our town website. So write your letters of interest to Mayor Davis and we'll go from there. And sorry, the next meeting is March 4th here at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. I want to take this time to thank Danny and Amber both for being on the rec board and for the time they spent there. That's a problem with volunteer boards. They're tough to get people on and sometimes it becomes difficult for everybody to be on the same page, but I do want to thank them. I'm sure the council feels the same way. Okay, we'll move on to the Saratoga Advisory Board, Airport Advisory Board. The only thing that they have tonight is they have an invoice in the amount of $16,595. This is for snow plowing. And this would run from January to January. So part of last year and some of this year.
I was just gonna ask, what's the update on their master plan, or is that process happening? I haven't heard anything about it.
Oh, on their master plan?
Yeah.
I missed their last meeting. I know they were waiting on grants. It was gonna kick off in October. And I don't know any of the updates. I can't tell you. I know that it's been studied. They are also working on some of their laws that they have and the same thing, but on their master plan, I can't answer that call. Okay. So on this invoice, do I have a motion to pay this invoice, which comes out of the airport funds that they raise in the amount of $16,595?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Opposed, or all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is there any other questions about the airport? Okay, their next meeting is February 12th at 3:30 PM here at the town hall. Okay, we'll move on to the South Central Emergency Medical Services. And I received no information from anybody. We did sign their contract. We got it back from Kylie, in which you guys had given me permission to sign it if Kylie didn't have any issues with it. It is signed and that's a done deal. Their next meeting is February 19th at 6 PM at the Riverside Town Hall. Okay. Is there any new business to be brought before the town council? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn this council meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.